Happy Wednesday. If it's Wednesday and it's 4 o'clock, you and I
Must,
jump online.
must be time for Facebook Live.
That's right. So welcome everybody to our Wednesday netcast. And we are Dave and Laura Butler, as you can see, of WorkLife Consulting. And we love to look at having fun as serious work. When we just logged on here, you asked me, are we having fun yet? And you look at everybody who's in the same space as we're in,
Yeah.
just trying to get to the next, to be able to say, I'm done with that. Let's move here. Well, it's not a linear kind of check off the box and complete, right?
It's so difficult to get all of the things arranged. You got technology and this works, that doesn't work. You got to log on, it doesn't log on. The amount of stress, I think, is what I'm starting to notice the most, not just for us, but for other people. And that's even more important than to have fun doing what you're doing, because if you're not finding some fun in it somewhere, it's just going to eat you alive.
Absolutely. So it's always important to find something, and the mundane may not be that much fun, but there has to be some piece of it there.
Some light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, and I was on a call this morning with leaders from GSK talking about the impact that COVID has had on women. But I think it's one of the leaders said, I'd like to talk about it being gender equal, because it's impacting everybody. And, I think when we look at how, that mundane piece and that, the day to day and all the things that go into the work that we need to do at home while we're still trying to do the work of work. And it impacts people in all these ways, all of this that we focus on. It impacts their leadership. It impacts their relationship with their teams. When people step back from a career because there's something else that's taking precedence over this whole thing, how do they step back in?
Yeah.
And how much time is lost. Sure. And you were talking about working with somebody this morning and setting up a mastermind.
Yeah, it's funny because the more I have conversations with different people, so much of this comes to the fore. You had a conversation about women. I had a conversation about masterminds. I got somebody else I'm talking to about their career. Somebody we're working with on leadership. It's just everybody's got something, and everybody's got a frustration or a stress behavior that's going along with this offsite world. It's unique to everybody.
Yeah. And all the different places where the conversations are happening. It's not at a water cooler anymore. I mean, the water cooler has gotten pretty wide. Yeah. It's a pretty big case, because the other thing is it doesn't fit one size.
Yeah. Everybody's got their own needs.
Yeah.
I wrote on my blog recently about the different needs and the different colors we use from the Berkman. But suggestions for being able to communicate better online, things to keep in mind. Now, sometimes you don't know the other person that you're communicating with, but you could do a little bit of each of these suggestions and just hope that one of them, hits them the right way. So do you want to go over those now?
Sure. Let's jump into them. So before you go into this, just set the stage a little bit where all of this is coming from. It's from our assessment tool of choice called the Berkman, Birkman. And like most of you have taken, some motivational personality assessments, and they all might have some reference to color, like red, green, blue, yellow. So does Berkman. The uniqueness to Berkman, which is why we love it, is that it sets the stage for what your needs are, understanding what motivates you personally. And when we have that self-awareness, which is the first step of emotional intelligence leading to emotional mastery, then we can understand how to work with others. So what Dave was just talking about is one of the colors is yellow. Talk about how this would impact an individual who is yellow, but how might somebody who's not work with the yellow?
Yeah. What's important about it is to lay the groundwork in advance to make sure that they've had a chance to see a loose agenda of some sort to understand what we're going to talk about. If there are documents that we're going to refer to make sure they have copies of those, to do all of the pre-work to get the information to the yellows, because the yellows will be completely lost if we don't have that. They're looking for the rules. They're looking for the systems, the way that we're going to approach things, the protocol. I might call it the protocol color.
Right. And then we move on to one of our favorites because it just happens to be what we both are.
Yeah. Well, having that green and being able to personalize the conversation, just doing something simple like starting off by saying, "How are you doing?" and getting a chance to check in with each other makes such a difference for greens. I mean, it makes a difference for everyone, I think, but especially for greens to just say, "So, have you gotten out of the house lately?" In the old days, I used to say, "Let's ask them how the golf game is," but I don't even know if people are playing golf anymore. I don't know what's going on.
Right.
Everybody's sort of trapped in their own space.
What I heard this morning on the call was one of the leaders said that managers are hesitant to have this conversation. And I said, I hear it all the time. The question is, how do I start? And just simply say, how are you doing? We'll go a really long way.
What's new?
Yeah, what's new? Exactly. But this also, those of us who are in, the upper quadrant, a little more extroverted, how can we support those who may be introverted and understand that because they're whatever, the yellow color that you just referenced would be in the lower quadrant, diagonally the opposite of green. So what we can use and personalize the conversation with by having yellow support is yellow loves to mine the data, loves to go for those analytics and yeah. And so with that, when we're telling our story and we've got yellow data to back it up, it's much more effective.
Much more effective.
And yellows, on the other hand, can get support from green by integrating some of those storytelling techniques.
Yeah, making it a little more lively, bringing it to life for other people, giving examples, talking about the personalities involved. That's what greens like to do.
Versus blue, which
are creative collaboration people, spark new ideas, look for new ways to think about things. It's probably the simple form of this would be to say, let's have a brainstorm.
Right. Yeah, always brainstorming, always thinking forward.
Options.
And with so many kind of thoughts in the air, those who want to land the plane may start to feel a little lost. Is this ever going to stop? Are we ever going to stop creating something new? Yeah. On the other hand, to get those new ideas and those new, and not even new ideas, but the allowing for the space of creativity. Without that, we can't move forward. And then the final.
The opposite of the blue is the red. And I think that one of the things to do in the meeting is to make sure that not so much the beginning of the meeting, but the end of the meeting, there's ownership of results. There's something in particular that's going to be delivered, like a deliverable. I did it with the person I had a conversation with today. He's has red needs, red styles, very red. At the end, I went over the list of 3 things that we wanted to do twice. And then when he sent me an email later, he put it in the email again. I mean, the Reds want to make sure that we got some, tangible deliverables here. We know and who owns what, who's going to do which one.
So it's not squishy, huh?
No, it's not. It's not squishy or vague. That's for sure. It's very definite. I like to think of a hammer and a nail. Boom! You just got to hit that nail right on the head.
Well, I think it's valuable too, because the blues can be, up in the space of ideas, and the plane is still hovering pretty high, and reds
around and around and around.
Yeah, and reds will say, "Come on, land it."
Yeah, come on.
And then the other hand, the reds will be, on the ground, not taking off because they're next.
Right.
The blues can help them.
And that's
Yep.
what I was trying to say to him, is that he needs to slow down a little bit and give things a little more time to evolve sometimes, as opposed to trying to jump in and come up with the answer too quickly. How can you let the bread rise a little bit more? Let's let the thing work its way through the system.
Absolutely. So I think, to wrap up what we're talking about today is to think of each of these colors. And even if you don't have the Berkman tool, you probably know what you gravitate towards and what you've seen, especially in this remote space, what you may contribute or need to look at more so when you're online and working with your teams. If you're a leader, to be sure you're looking at each of these people who may be in a different color quadrant than you are, and ask for their input. So that's one virtual meeting technique that we found helpful, is to make sure that everybody is contributing, make sure that everybody has access to the right information, and make sure there's time for checking in, checking out, planning.
Right. Well, let everybody be heard.
Absolutely. So the ticker on the bottom gives you ways the way that you can connect with us. Also on our Facebook page, you can collect or hit the join there, and we're here every Wednesday, most of the time at 4:00. So let us know.
As long as we're still here, we're here.
Yeah. What virtual meeting techniques you found helpful, because everybody has their favorites. So if you're listening to this post live, thank you. See you next time.
Bye.